Hi everyone, welcome to Mindful Attachment Coaching. Today we'll be covering a topic that influences all of us, and that's our attachment patterns, the childhood conditioning we experience and how it continues to affect us into our adult lives. Whether you're navigating romantic relationships, relationship with your friends, family, coworkers, understanding these attachment patterns is a game changer and gives you a really clear map of how to move towards healthier, more secure connections. Attachment theory was developed by John Bowlby in the late 1940s and 1950s, and what he observed was certain behaviors and patterns in children in response to their caregivers. And he later was able to confirm that these patterns largely persist through not only the early period, the childhood, but into adulthood. There are four main attachment patterns, and these are secure, dismissive, preoccupied, and disorganized. And each pattern represents four beliefs about yourself and the way you view the world. So let's go in depth about each attachment pattern now. So let's start with secure attachment, and this is by far the healthiest outcome you can have from good enough early caregiving experience from your parents or whoever raised you. And secure adults feel good about themselves. They are comfortable both with intimacy and being independent and exploring on their own. They have good emotional regulation skills, and really relationships are just part of their lives. They don't even think about it, it just integrated so much. And adults with secure attachment have a positive sense of self. They feel pretty good about who they are. And they also have a positive outlook on others and the world. They're able to engage in ways that work. And generally, they have relationships that are long lasting. They're stable, long term. They can resolve conflicts, and navigate the ups and downs of life. They're also more likely to grow and explore in relationships as they feel confident in their partner's responsiveness. Approximately 50% of the population has secure attachment, and I'm going to revisit this number and the statistics because in the normative population, these numbers look very different than in, say, high-risk population. So if you grow up in adverse conditions, these numbers change drastically towards insecure attachment and especially disorganized attachment. And then the first insecure attachment style we'll discuss is anxious preoccupied attachment, and it's really characterized by an excessive need for reassurance, an intense fear of abandonment, that the other person, whether it's a partner or whoever they're engaged in a relationship, is going to leave them or abandon them. And this leads to behaviors such as clinginess, preoccupation with relationships, wondering about what the partner may be doing and thinking, and just generally mistrusting other people's behaviors. And approximately 20% of the population has this attachment pattern. And then the next insecure attachment pattern is dismissive avoidant. And dismissive avoidant adults have a deactivated attachment system, so they're emotionally shut off, and they tend to be hyper independent and engaged in activities that from the outside appear like exploration, but they're really an attempt to distract from that anxiety and move away from attachment and attachment needs. And adults with this attachment pattern often devalue or dismiss close relationships and the value of them, and over prioritize independence, self-reliance over emotional intimacy. And the way this can look is really a discomfort with closeness, or avoidance of any situation where you have to depend on other people. And similarly to preoccupied attachment, about 20% of the population has this attachment pattern. And the last insecure attachment pattern in adults is disorganization. And it's really a mix of both the preoccupied and avoidant attachment patterns. And I want to make it clear that it's not simply the use of both patterns, it's a result of early childhood that is so chaotic, unpredictable, and unsafe that no one single pattern works. So as an adult, somebody who has disorganized attachment, you'll see them often alternate between, say, the preoccupied clinginess and wanting a lot of reassurance, and then simultaneously or alternating into a dismissive avoidance state of mind where they're asking for space, wanting to isolate or disappear. And in addition to these conflicting behaviors, adults with disorganized attachment often have difficulty with all relationships and maintaining any form of stable relationships. They're usually chronically emotionally dysregulated, and the level of emotional dysregulation is much higher than any of the other insecure attachment patterns. In adults, disorganized attachment is marked by intense emotional dysregulation, often using withdrawal, isolation, and self-medicating with substances and alcohol in order to self-regulate. This attachment style is also strongly correlated with mental health disorders like dissociation, personality disorders, and more generally anxiety and depression. And although disorganized attachment only represents about 10% of the general population, in clinical settings, say mental health clinics, rehabs, over 80% of people in these programs are disorganized. So how do these attachment patterns affect adult relationships? Secure functioning relationships are marked by elevation of both parties, where each individual feels like they're able to accomplish more together in the relationship than either person could do on their own. And these secure functioning relationships are invaluable, and it's worthwhile to cultivate such relationships throughout your life. And contrast that to anxiously preoccupied partners who often perceive their relationship through the lens of anger, jealousy, and resentment, and generally feel like the other person is always unavailable, about to reject them. And when the other partner is doing well, having success in their life, instead of celebrating their success, for the anxious partner, they feel fear and resentment, expecting that they'll be more likely to be abandoned now. Individuals with avoidant dismissive attachment often select partners based on their high social status, or alternatively, they pick people who are helpless or incapable of leaving the relationship, which reflects an underlying theme of domination. And if this dynamic sounds familiar, you're right. This is the coupling of a preoccupied person with an avoidant person. And this is by far the most common insecure coupling. And the only more common coupling is secure person with another secure person. And individuals with disorganized attachment often struggle to maintain any form of stable relationships, as their primary means of emotionally regulating is through withdrawal. As a result, disorganized people often gravitate towards each other because they understand the need to withdraw and the different ways they cope. However, these relationships are typically the least stable. So how do you actually go about finding out your attachment pattern? To accurately determine your attachment pattern, it's recommended that you use one of the gold standard assessments like the Adult Attachment Interview, the AAI, or alternatively the Adult Attachment Picture Projective, the AAP, and these are widely regarded as the gold standard assessments for attachment styles. And just briefly, the AAI is a structured interview conducted by a trained professional, and it analyzes your use of language and how you relate to attachment experiences. And based on that, you can get to the underlying attachment strategies, defenses, if there are any. And from that, you can pull out the general attachment strategy. And the adult picture projective system is another powerful way to assess attachment patterns by using projective pictures to get to the underlying attachment strategies. And this method taps into the deeper, often unconscious attachment behaviors, providing a richer context for your patterns. And research studies show that it is indeed possible to move from even, say, a disorganized attachment pattern and earn security through various interventions. You do want to use specific therapeutic interventions that are designed to address attachment disturbances. And this is a good point to talk about ideal parent figure protocol and how it relates to earning secure attachment. And in a 2016 pilot study by Daniel P. Brown, David Elliott, and colleagues, and they also have a book called Treating Adult Attachment Disturbances in Adults, they showed that over a series of 50 to 150 sessions, which takes approximately 1 to 3 years, 100% of the participants earned security over that time. and they started almost every single person with disorganized attachment. And more generally, research shows that about 60% of the time with therapeutic interventions, somebody can start with disorganized attachment and earn security. And once earned, secure attachment tends to be stable. And longitudinal studies show that once you do earn secure attachment, it tends to persist through various relationships and stages of lives, and you even pass that on to your children. If you'd like to learn more about your own attachment patterns and explore some of these formal assessments like the AI and the AAP, you can go on the website Mindful Attachment Coaching, and all of that content is there. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you're finding yourself in some of these patterns or somebody you know and you want to share, feel free to leave a comment. I do read them and I'm happy to reply. Let's start a conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anybody who you think might benefit from it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.